Two Kids and a Career is produced by Jill Devine Media.
One of my favorite verses is, we should build each other up just as we should be doing. And I always have taken that. It was something it was from a Bible study when I was in Houston. And I just felt like that fits so well into all these moms that are out there hustling and doing these side hustles and trying to raise their families. And we should all be building each other up and in the right ways and being helpful and, promoting each other. When, I was driving and listening and you were talking about your shout out. I'm like, how nice would it be for this mom that she's not only getting nominated, but then she has something tangible at the end and she can wear it. And we're like, yeah, I was nominated. Someone really felt that about me and I'm seen. And like you always say, you're seen, you're heard, you're supported. And this is just another way for that to be.
Two Kids and a Career is brought to you by Blondin Real Estate. They're a family-owned boutique-style brokerage with over 40 years of experience serving the counties that surround St. Louis. See the properties they have to offer at blondinrealestate.com. That's blondinrealestate.com. Hi there and welcome to Two Kids and a Career. I'm Jill Devine. As an entrepreneur, wife, and mama, the daily grind of trying to build a business while taking care of kids and trying to maintain a healthy connection with my hubby, it's a lot. With this podcast, you're going to hear candid conversations with other moms, parenting experts who can share their knowledge and insight, or you'll just hear me rambling to get it all out. There's going to be tears, there's going to be laughter, but most importantly, there will be support. Take a listen and connect with me so we can grow and learn from one another. This is Two Kids and a Career. Welcome to Season 6, the launch of Season 6, Episode 71. Taking some time to reflect over the last few weeks to think about the podcast and do I want to change up things? Do I want to keep them the same? And I think it's an answer of both, actually. I think I want to keep talking to some awesome people and then also have some experts on, but always go back to that natural conversation. And one thing that I will continue to do with this podcast is support other women, other moms, other entrepreneurs. I mean, just women supporting women. And I really don't even know how to introduce the guests for this launch because there's been so much that has happened between the two of us in literally months. So I'll do my best. I will go ahead and introduce Lisa Webb to the podcast, founder and creator of Addy's Way. Welcome officially. You've been part of the podcast in other episodes. I've mentioned you, but now you're officially on.
I know. It's so exciting.
So there is a special reason why I wanted Lisa to kick off Season 6. And we'll go ahead and start with that, but then we'll get into a little bit of a background and some stuff that we've talked about before and why I wanted you on the podcast. But Lisa owns Addy's Way. Let's first talk about Addy's Way and what it's all about.
Okay. Well, Addy's Way actually started in 2010. We were living in Houston. My kids were little. I had always worked. And then my husband's job started moving us around the country. So being a stay-at-home mom was a new concept for me. And then, nap time would come and I would get bored and I needed an outlet for me. And that's how it really kind of started. And my husband had gifted me a piece of photo jewelry when my daughter was born. And I just thought it was the coolest thing ever. And people commented on it all the time. And one day I'm like, everyone likes this. I really should just make them myself. And so that's how it started. I started making some nice jewelry that was photo jewelry that I did well with. I enjoyed doing it, but I always wanted to do, other things. And then Addy's Way kind of got put on the shelf. We were relocated back to Missouri from Houston, Texas. We'd lived there for 5 years and got moved back to Missouri and built a house and everything was in storage for 10 months. And so my path went on to a different direction. I became basically a full-time sub for 2 years. And then we got the call again that we were being relocated again. And ended up here in St. Louis, which we can talk about that in a little bit. I'm sure we're going to go down that path of being in St. Louis, but it was in God's plan that we were here, and I was excited. But my husband's like, you're always doing something, take a break. And so we got here in June. The kids started school in August, and I was okay doing nothing until about September, and then I was bored. And so that's when the new Addy's Way, the one that everyone knows that now, was launched. And I started off with doing leather jewelry and things like that. And then I grew up in the screen printing business. And so I kind of phased into that in the last year. So I'm trying to meld those two worlds and still build both sides of the business. So it's been an interesting year for sure. Of course, in the middle of a pandemic was a great idea to start,
Right.
but anyway, that's kind of the short of Addy's Way.
Can you tell me what the name Addy's Way means, why it was chosen?
Yeah, that's kind of funny, actually. So I have a 14-year-old. Her name is Addison. So when I named the business back in 2010, and I was talking to my friends and just trying to come up with a name, and back then it was really popular, when you were doing any business to name it after your kids or whatever. And I was just trying to come up with one, and someone said Addy's Way, which is like one of the spitballs that was thrown out. And I was like, I kind of like that, because although we never call her Addy ever, she goes by that. Personally, this household does not call her that. I was like, she always gets her way, so it's kind of a cute name. So that's how it. It's no deeper than that. It's just named after Addison, and she seems to always get her way. So it's Addy's Way.
I think that resonates with a lot of mamas listening. Yep. I mean, it's crazy though how much you and I have communicated in the last few months, from not knowing each other at all, just knowing mutual friends. And I'll just go ahead and jump ahead again as to why you are part of this episode, why you're part of season 6 launch. Well, Lisa came to me because she is doing the apparel now, and she said, Jill, I want to create a t-shirt for your Supermoms, for your Supermom Shoutout. And I was like, why didn't I think about that? Like, why didn't I even think that? And you have been so supportive of not only me in the podcast, but especially these Supermoms, because you get it, you understand it. And we together came up with a great, cute, I don't know if I want to use cute. It is cute. It's cute. A cute
It
little
is
design.
cute.
It is very cute. But the thing is, you are gifting these Supermoms with these t-shirts. These women are getting a t-shirt from you and me, but mostly you, because you designed it. I'm just talking about it. I just want to know what in your heart made you say, I just want to do this. Like, I just want, for me, I want the listener to know, like, there is nothing like monetary. There's no deals made. This is seriously just you saying, I want
No
to
deal.
do these shirts. And there's no hidden agenda. And a lot of times there are hidden agendas. And so I just wanted to ask you about that. Like, what made you say, this is something that I want to do?
Well, as you know, and I always send you pictures, I like to listen to your podcast when I'm driving a lot. Sometimes when I'm going store to store, or sometimes it ends up on the days I'm going to see my mom or whatever, and I just was listening to it one day, and I thought, one of my favorite verses is, we should build each other up just as we should be doing. And I always have taken that. It was something it was from a Bible study when I was in Houston. And I just felt like that fits so well into all these moms that are out there hustling and doing these side hustles and trying to raise their families. And we should all be building each other up, and in the right ways, and being helpful, and promoting each other. And so then that one always just is in my brain, that verse. And so when I was driving and listening, and you were talking about your shout out, I'm like, how nice would it be for this mom that she's not only getting nominated, but then she has something tangible at the end, and she can wear it and we're like, yeah, I was nominated. Someone really felt that about me, and I'm seen. And like you always say, you're seen, you're heard, you're supported. And this is just another way for that to be.
I absolutely love that. Again, when you said, hey, I want to do this, it did bring tears to my eyes, because I was like, okay, she gets it. She understands. Like, this is, yes, that Bible verse, 100%. Like, there's no hidden agenda. There's no nothing. It's just supporting one another, and especially supporting those mamas that are just working really hard every day.
Yeah. And the ones on the shout outs, not necessarily, with the side hustle. I mean, that's obviously where that verse resonated with me originally. But I mean, it's hard being a mom. It
Yeah.
just is. We work
100.
hard. We work hard, and every phase they go through, it's like you're playing whack-a-mole and you're trying to, just do the best you can. And it's so nice that you do that. And it's such a great segment every week for someone to know that they are seen. And I think the world needs to be better about seeing people. I think it's a good thing.
You can see the design that we created right now. If you go to jilldevine.com under the Supermom Shoutout page, not only can you see the design, you can get a link to Addy's Way. You can see all the past Supermoms, and you can put a nomination in for a Supermom. And then the Supermom Shoutout happens at the end of each episode. And then that Supermom will get a nice little surprise from Lisa and Addy's Way with this awesome shirt. In full disclosure, we don't have a picture of, I need you, Lisa, in the shirt, but we don't have a picture of someone in a shirt right now. As
It's
life goes, it's coming, and it's complicated and it's messy, but we're getting there. They will get their shirts.
right. Get the shirts, and life is messy. That is for sure. And
Yes.
21 has been a little messier than I was predicting. So it just is what it is right now. We're doing our best. That's why I say all the
yes, we are.
I'm just doing the best I can.
Yes, you one day at a time, or whenever anybody asked me, like, how are you doing? 1 minute at a time, just 1 minute at a time. So yeah, that is a really exciting thing moving forward. So whenever you hear me talk about the Supermom shout out, Addy's Way, the sponsor of it, creating these shirts that we're going to send to mamas. And I truly do hope that when these moms, because a lot of the moms that are nominated, they have no clue. And sometimes there's probably some of the moms that are like, I didn't even know I was ever nominated on what, because it's a nomination. So I really truly hope when they get this package in the mail that it just even means that much more to them.
Yes, I'm excited.
Yes, again, you can go to jilldevine.com and check out the Supermom shout out page and get your form in that way. So again, thank you for that. Other thing I wanted to talk to you about specifically in the very last episode of season 5 with Maria and Rachel, the authors of The Cow Cocoon. One thing that I had mentioned to them, and I mentioned this to you too, before this recording, that it's always nice to have somebody a season ahead of you so that you can ask those questions that maybe you didn't think of, or you can hear a different perspective. And that's one of the things that I wanted to talk to you about, because we have this joke that I could probably just do this recording, reading our text messages back and forth.
Right.
You don't sugarcoat it. I don't want anybody to sugarcoat it. I want the truth. And I think one of the things that I've talked about a lot is struggling with, you're going to miss this, or be in the moment, and this and that and this. And then I'm thinking, well, I don't really like car seats, but people say I'm going to miss this. And so it was refreshing to hear Maria and Rachel talk about that. Like, no, 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 no. I want you to think about it this way. And so because you have kids older than mine, I wanted to get your perspective on that.
I struggled with that a lot too, right? Because people do say that all the time, and you're like, I mean, sure, that was great, and I really enjoyed it. So I have changed my mindset to, I don't miss it. I'm going to be in the moment to what season we're in, but I do remember all those seasons fondly, and I do. I mean, they're great memories. Do I think I could go back to changing diapers right now? Absolutely not. But I mean, I guess maybe when, give me 3 more seasons and I may say, yes, I missed, I missed that. But I mean, I do, I just try to be in the moment and just try to, and like I've said recently, my kids are now teenagers. I have a 12-year-old and a 14-year-old, and I'm like, I love this age. It's different. You can relate to them on a different level. You can joke about things, and it's just different. So I just remember each season so fondly. But I don't try to think about, I wish I could go back. I'm just enjoying where I'm at.
Ah, That I like. Yeah. Okay. Because it's easy to beat yourself up when you hear people saying,
Yes.
yeah, you're going to miss this. This is different. You're not going to, each season presents its own challenges.
Yes, it does. But there's so much good in it. Like my kids are great. And I will tell you on any given day that some days they make me laugh and cry both,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And teenagers, that's not even a joke. But
Nope.
um, but I mean, I loved all my time with them. I was fortunate to be able to be with them. I think moving was a blessing also, that it took me out of the workforce to move, and it allowed me to be a stay-at-home mom, even though I started my side gig, but just to be with them, all the time. And I'm just thankful that I had the time. Yet I'm really just trying. I mean, and that's a learned mindset too. That guilt that you feel when people say that. It took a while for me to get there, but I'm like, no, I'm going to enjoy the season I'm in. I'm going to be present, and I'm going to remember all the other seasons fondly. But I like where we are.
That's a beautiful thing to say, because it's one of those things that it's not thought about enough or said enough. So that's going to be my reminder too. It just, this is so ridiculous, and I can't believe I'm going to share this, but it's like when you talk about the different seasons, for our oldest Lou, she's 4. Just the other day, I went to the bathroom, and surprisingly, she and her sister were not attached to my hip. I mean, I couldn't believe I was going to the bathroom by myself. So she had gone to the bathroom before me. And so I come in and I go to the bathroom. I'm like, oh, you got to be kidding me. There's no toilet paper. And I was like, wait a minute. She can get me toilet paper. So I'm yelling, and I'm like, I love that she can get me toilet paper. Like, if it's so dumb, but I was like celebrating it at the same time. Like, she can walk and go get me toilet paper and bring it over to me. And that is just a glorious thing. It's the little
It
things,
is.
Lisa.
It is. But I also want to warn you, don't get too excited. My two still follow me to the bathroom
Ah,
sometimes. So
ah, dang it. I know, I'm always like, we need a bigger bathroom, or even at one time, I think, yeah, we were in the bathroom and I was getting ready for bed and brushing my teeth. And then here comes one, here comes the other, and then here comes my husband. I'm like, what is wrong with you people? Like, give
no.
me my space. Get out. All of you leave.
I know mine will run around the corner like, Mom. And I'm like, well, clearly this couldn't wait. Obviously, someone's hair is on fire, right? Because I'm just
Right.
trying to.
um something that I want to talk about that I don't think has been discussed in 70 episodes. Maybe it has, but I don't think it has. Something you mentioned earlier when you said that you'll listen to the podcast when you're driving and you go to see your mom. You're considered that sandwich generation. And I don't really 100% understand or get, or let me say, not understand or get it. I don't know what it feels like, and I know that there's a lot of pressure that is put on people like you because you're part of the sandwich generation, and I was wondering if you would dive into that a little bit with me.
Sure. So my parents had me a little later in life, and especially in the 70s. I believe my mom was 29 and my dad was 32 or 33, something like that. So my dad passed away when we got moved back to Kansas City. He had passed away. And so earlier when I said it was a blessing we got moved to St. Louis, well, the good news is I actually grew up 2 hours north of St. Louis. So my dad had passed away. My mom's on her own. And so getting moved closer to my hometown was a blessing, although I wasn't prepared to leave Kansas City because that's where that's where my daughter was born. That's where my husband and I were married. That's where my friends are. And I built, great groups of friends. So I wasn't excited about moving, but I never was upset because I knew it was a good choice. It allows us to live in a city, but I can be in my mom's house in an hour and 45 minutes if I need to be there for any reason. So I felt like it was a blessing to be closer, and it is, because I can go spend the day, and I can go up and back in one day, and it's not that big of a deal. In fact, I just did it yesterday. So, So it is stressful. Thankfully, my mom is 77. She's in really good health. We did have some challenges at the beginning of the year, which had me going back and forth a lot, which was very stressful just to keep the family moving, going on this side and the business going here and her going there. It was just, a lot of things coming at me at one time. But she does work full time. And so she has her, and she's got her best friend, and they do their things. So thankfully she has her life there and is busy. I think it would be harder on all of us if she didn't. So that is the good news. But yeah, it is stressful because I worry about her. Like I joke, I have Life 360 on my 14-year-old and my 77-year-old mother, because that way, in the mornings, I know it's silly, but I know that she's okay because she leaves for work every day at 7:44, and my Life 360 goes off at 7:44 and tells me she's left her house and she's arrived at work, and I don't have to text her. I just know she's where she's supposed to be. And so I guess you kind of flip into that, almost like you start parenting your parents a little bit. And some days I parent her more than others, and some days she tells me to go fly a kite. So, you just never know where we're at. But I would like to think at this point, this 10 seconds, that I'm starting to get into a rhythm with being able to manage all of that. It's taken me the last couple of years to do so. But yeah, I mean, I think it's just me having children also later in life. So, all of my husband and I's friends' kids are graduating from high school or they're getting married, and my kids are 12 and 14. So I'm obviously really right in the thick on both sides of, helping with my mom and taking care of kids. So stressful, yes. Blessed to be able to do it, and thankful I have the opportunity. It's just a different season of life.
Well, from listening to past episodes, it's one of my concerns. I don't know if I want to say fear. I don't know, but being an older parent and having young kids, there's that side where all your friends, like you said, are in a different area, a different season in their life, and you're like, okay, I still got 2 and 4-year-old, like I just can't go. And so there's
Right.
that part, but then the other part is the concern that I have. I mean, I can sit here and joke like, oh, by the time they're whatever age, I'll be in a nursing home and I won't care about anything they do. But it does scare me. Like it does make me sit back a little and go, okay, I can't control how I can't control any of the things that go through my mind about getting older. Um,
Right.
and that's it's hard for me to put into words because it's something that I am I'm wrestling with internally. Like I have to figure that out on my own, and I don't really necessarily know what that is or when it'll happen, but it is a concern to me because I think I always fast forward like, oh, well, when they're 20, I'm going to be this, and what kind of health am I going to be in? Well, that's for me to choose. And then it just goes into this really deep, dark rabbit hole. And that's when I have to start to learn to just like throw my hands up and just roll with it. But
Yep,
I
and that's it. Honestly, I've been down that road. I hear you 100%. I mean, I was 34 when my daughter was born. I was 36 when my son was born. My husband's 3 years older than me. And we don't say he has gray hair. We say he is Arctic blonde. And my kids know that their mom and dad are older, but that honestly, I will say, and you have the same kind of friend group that I do. You have a good set of moms. I feel like I'm better for it, and I mean that because I went through all of their struggles. I listened to them parenting before I was a parent. And so by the time I got to my kids, I felt like I kind of know what I'm doing because I've lived through, I know what they've trialed and erred, or I know if I have questions, I can go to them and they have walked this path, maybe 10 years before me even. So I kind of put it in that perspective. Sometimes I think the way we parent is because we're older and we've lived more life. So I appreciate that. As your kids get older, you will too. You'll see the difference, I think, a little bit. So I don't know. I mean, Yes, in the health, I hear you. And we really started working on that at our house about a year ago. Well, the pandemic, the 15 days to slow the spread was my, my day to decide that we could be outside, and it's going to be painful for me to ride my bike for 8 miles, but I need to take my kids because they need fresh air, and we can't sit in this house, for months at a time. So this is what we're going to go do. And I'm going to do it.
Yeah, I'm working on that too. You and I have discussed that uh, offline a couple of times. So definitely part of it. All right. So wrapping things up, Lisa, as a woman, as a mother, as an entrepreneur, doing it all, I just want to know if there's just any kind of advice that you want to give or some sort of statement or whatever it is, because as you also know, if you listen, if just one person can get something from this conversation, just one thing, that's going to make me happy. And so, with everything that's going on for you, first, let me just say, I hope you are able to take care of yourself and turn to anyone that you are able to with everything that you have going on. And that is something that's on my heart for you. And I definitely say a prayer for you on those things. But I just also wanted to see if there was something that you wanted to say to someone listening.
I think it's important. And again, it's something I've learned because, and it's finding the balance, right? Because I could work myself to death because I think that's what I need to be doing. But then I'm not present with my family. So I think in the last year, honestly, this last year, it's taught a lot of people a lot of things. But I think I've gotten to the point where there are no t-shirt emergencies, there are no earring emergencies, but there are family emergencies. And so just being okay to take a beat. And yep, I may not be the number one business out there, I may not even be in the top 200, but this week it's more important for me to focus my time here. And so that's my season, actually, that I'm learning right now, is that I'm learning to balance it all and to do my best in all areas and not just my business. So, and it's easy to get really hyper focused on your business and not be hyper focused on everything, or not focus on anything else. And so I think, I'm almost 4 years in, I'm 3.5, I think, since I started here in St. Louis. So I think that, like, give yourself a break, know that you're doing the best you can, and you don't have to be number one, and your day will come, and everyone grows at different speeds, and just find your balance and do what's best for you. Like, don't compromise yourself to feel like that's what's expected of you, who
Yeah.
you
And
are.
I was going to add too, like, you're going to change, you're going to evolve. And just because you have to make some changes, and while it's hard and you feel like you're starting all over, sometimes that's just necessary. That's what you have to do.
Yes, I agree. And that's kind of where I feel like 2020 has really been an interesting year. Like, I started off thinking, I'm gonna rock it this year, and it's been a little, well, we're gonna have a picture with that shirt eventually, is kind of where I'm at with it right now. So I
Well,
just
hey, wait,
I,
you are confusing 2021 with 2020. You just said this
I
was
know,
2020 again. I'm the same. I'm like, what year is it? What are we doing?
right. I know. I'm like so confused. Like, I was like, I thought I left, thought 2020 was over. But it just is what it is. And I can be upset about it, or I can choose to have a good attitude and just say, honestly, every day I say, God, what are you trying to teach me? I'm listening, because I feel like he is stretching me, and that's okay.
Right.
That's what it needs to happen. So I just think taking that mindset with it, though, and just, not getting depressed about it. You can't. I mean, I just have to hold my head up and figure out where I'm going and what I'm doing. So
And acknowledge those feelings, like what I talked about a little while ago, that you keep it real and you're not just saying, oh, everything's so amazing, I'm just living my best life ever. I think that's where people start to get a little bit more in the depressed zone when they hear that. Like,
right.
as much as I try to be as positive as possible, like, tears me up when I say negative things or acknowledge negative things. I also have to understand that that is part of the process.
It is, absolutely. But I guess I've always just been, an optimistic person. So I'm like, I can allow myself to be doom and gloom, but I can't. Like, there's still too many good things in life, right? And
Yeah.
honestly, again, I just keep going back to God's just teaching me some lessons this year, and He's teaching me to take time and take a beat and take some deep breaths. And my husband keeps saying, those are the things you should be doing, Lisa. You need to take a break. Go take a nap. Like, that's never going to happen. But he says, go take a nap. I'll just go watch Netflix, but I'm not going to go to sleep.
I like your husband.
Is amazing. I probably could make a lot of money if I could clone him, for sure. He is amazing. I could not do any of this without him. Not even, in fact, since I'm doing this with you, he's out at a boutique stocking it right now.
So awesome. Way to go, Jerry. I love that so much. Well, I would like to thank you again for taking on the sponsorship of these Supermoms with the Supermom Shoutout. And I just absolutely love that you came forward to me and you said this is something that, I've been wanting to work with you in general. And so this is a great start for that. And if you have a Supermom Shoutout nomination, all you have to do is go to JillDevine.com, the Supermom Shoutout page, or you can email me hello@JillDevine.com. You can also check out Addy's Way at addysway.com. Locally, there's different boutiques that Lisa will pop up into with Addy's Way. Social media, you are on Instagram and Facebook, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And it's at Addy's Way.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
And I will also have all of this linked up in the show notes at JillDevine.com. But please check out Lisa, support her business. She is a small business owner. She had, anytime I wear any of your stuff, I'm like, loving it for myself, but then people are like, oh, where'd you get it? But now it's come to like, is that an Addy's Way shirt? Is that an Addy's Way earring? I'm like, yes, it is. Yes,
and when you wear your
is.
taco hat, you can say you got it right off my head.
I did. I have this amazing beer and taco hat that I took I took it right off of Lisa's head. I was like, I'm sold. And now my husband wants it. So it's just so many great things. And right now I'm literally looking at my other hat that I bought from you. Thankful, grateful, blessed.
Awesome.
That is what everybody should be feeling. Lisa, thank you again for everything.
Thank you so much. And for allowing me, I'm honored to help with the Supermom Shoutout. I'm just so excited about it. So thank you for allowing me to do that.
Before we get to that Supermom Shoutout brought to you by Addy's Way, let's talk about Blondin Real Estate. As you know, the market is just super crazy right now for buyers and sellers. And so I was talking to one of the owners at Blondin Real Estate about this, and I said, what's your inside tip? What should buyers and sellers know? And she said, buyers and sellers need to know ahead of time. I was like, well, what does that mean? And what she told me about was this feature that they have at blondinrealestate.com where you can learn about property before anybody else. This is where you can go to sell property first. This is where you can go to buy property first. Just sign up by visiting blondinrealestate.com. And now it's time for the Supermom Shoutout, the first one brought to you by Addy's Way. And I thought it was very appropriate to ask Lisa if she wanted to make the very first nomination to receive the very awesome customized Supermom t-shirt. And she said she had the perfect person that she wanted to nominate. So this week's nomination coming from Lisa, and she is nominating Erin of O'Fallon. She said, it's my privilege to nominate my amazing friend Erin for the Supermom Shoutout. Erin is a single mom to Donovan, Giovanna, Simone, and Devereaux. I admire how hard she works to provide for her babies. Erin works all day and runs all night from practice to practice, keeping her kids involved in the activities they love. She's an amazing mom that deserves all the shout-outs and recognition she can get. Erin, I see you and I support you. If you have a Supermom nomination, there's now an additional way to get that nomination to me. You can go to JillDevine.com. There's a Supermom Shoutout page, and you can just fill out the form. Or you can email me, hello@JillDevine.com. You can go to Instagram @JillDevine. You can go to Facebook @JillDevine Media. However you want to get that Supermom nomination to me, I'll take it. It's that easy. And again, brought to you by Addy's Way, these Supermoms are going to now get an awesome, fun, customized t-shirt. And that's all because of Lisa's good heart. So get that nomination to me, and then that mom will get a shout out in an upcoming episode of the podcast. Speaking of the podcast, if you would take some time to subscribe, rate, and review the podcast, I'd be very thankful for that. And if you need to know how to do all those things, I have them all listed at JillDevine.com. Thank you for tuning in to the launch of season 6. And as always, thank you for your support of 2 kids and a career.